The 16-year-old had little regard for her parents as they had for her. Unlike Tiffany's relationship with her father, Trish was not troubled or in denial. It was non-existent. Basically, she was just a roommate in the house. She bought her own clothes, she made her own meals, and provided her own direction in life. She usually stayed out as late as she could before the night and tiredness would force her home. But tonight it was still early, and though she shivered occasionally, she was enjoying herself. So there she sat under the stars, far older than she could contemplate, smoking cigarettes. She was thinking about her cousin Tiffany and her new boyfriend, wondering if someday she'd get a boyfriend, or if she wanted one. Every relationship she'd seen started up and had eventually come apart. Many times, especially on beautiful nights such as this, she thought it was much better to be alone. The peace, the quiet. Maybe it was better to spend your life alone, just you and your thoughts. She never bought into all that romantic crap anyway. Nothing could beat a peaceful evening like this. Sharing it would mean talking, and there would go the peace. Off in the distance, coming down Joplin's turn, she noticed a car approaching. She didn't recognize it, and it was getting kind of late for strangers to be driving the reserve roads. It was driving slow, like it was lost, or looking for someone. It drove around the daycare, then suddenly turned towards the playground. Trish became uncomfortable. Living in a small community, she knew who to avoid and who to trust, but this was a strange car, and all bets were off. Trish put one foot on the sanding ground as she slowly slid off the picnic table, ready to run if necessary. Admittingly, she was curious, but she was smart enough to know curiosity would cause a lot of damage if you weren't careful. The car came to a stop directly in front of her. The engine hummed almost silently as Trish put her second foot on the sand. There was something definitely creepy about the car and the way it just sat there like it was judging her. Around her, everything seemed to go silent. In the fall, most of the insects were gone, but there were still enough animal noises coming from the grass and the bush to let you know you weren't alone on the land. But now, silence, just the sound of the idling car. "You looking for something?" She hardly recognized her own voice. The window slowly came down, revealing blackness. Trish could barely make out the lit gauges on the dashboard, but other than that, it was like looking into the bottom of a well. Nothing. Then she heard the voice. Yes. It was rich, deep, and almost had an echoing quality. The single three-letter word she heard was crisp, strong, and commanding. There was somebody in there in the shadows, but still she couldn't see him. But he could see her, and she felt alone and vulnerable. Any other night she would have run, but for some reason Trish was rooted to the sand, her left hand grasping at the top of the picnic table. Her mind was dizzy, and it was like there was a fog billowing through her consciousness. She was finding it hard to concentrate. The measured tone of the voice and the blackness she saw in the car seemed to be pulling her. But once more, she found the conviction to speak. Who? For a second and a half, there was silence. Then came the response. "Come here, please." This time the voice sent a ripple down her spine. Though she couldn't quite say it was a chill, it was just her body reacting to the man's tone. Though it went against all types of survival training they had taught her and all the other kids in school, she found herself approaching the car. The voice was a magnet, pulling her legs closer. Something within her knew that she should be kicking up stone to the nearest house as fast as her legs would carry her, but maybe she could do that later. Trish leaned over and looked in the car window. For a moment, it almost seemed like the dark frame that sat in the driver's seat had red eyes. But then she realized it was probably the reflection off the dashboard lights. "I'm looking for Keith Hunter's house. Where is it, please?" It was then Trish was sure she smelled something. Not smelled exactly, but something was coming from the inside of the car that Trish wasn't sure she'd encountered before. That time on the field trip when they went into caves carved out of the Canadian Shield thousands of years ago, or when she climbed that 500-year-old pine tree, or when she took the shortcut through the graveyard, it was definitely not a new car smell. Involuntarily, Trish found herself pointing toward the dirt road leading to the valley. That way, just before the turnoff to the lake. 13 Muriel's Landing. Look for the doghouse out front. She was speaking the words, knew that was where her cousin lived, but it was like her knowledge was in one room and her willpower in another. The door between the two was locked. The voice had the only key. "Thank you, you've been quite helpful." The electric window raised up and Trish automatically stepped back from the car. She could hear the engine being put into gear and then the car pick up speed and left, heading directly for the valley. With a thump, Trish sat back down on the picnic table, trying to remember something. What it was gone. It was as if a page had been seamlessly removed from the book of her life. She took out another cigarette and lit it, looking up at the stars. Otter Lake sure was boring, Trish thought. She sure wished something interesting would happen around here.